Hi everybody, this is Mark from Mark's Mandalas, and this video is going to show you how to make a one-handed dotting tool cleaner that you can use while you're painting. And I wanted to find something that was going to be inexpensive, easy to put together, and actually works. And I was given this suggestion by Joyce, who recently bought Mark's Mandalas dotting tools and had suggested using a sponge to clean your dotting tools while you're painting. So I decided I wanted to try to find a way to make something that would work quickly, easily, and here's what I came up with. It's just 4 different items, and I got all of these at Dollar Tree. I have the pictures that are online that I took screenshots of. I couldn't find the glue dots on the Dollar Tree website, but I did find them at Dollar General. So depending on what dollar store you have in your area, you might be able to find variations of these items there. But anyway, this is what I found at my local Dollar Tree. And I found 6 of these sponges for $1. So you can actually make multiples of these to bring the price down. It's an initial $4 investment to make one of these, but if you want to make ones for your friends, or what I do, I actually have one of these with the wet sponge and one with the dry sponge. So it's only an extra $1 afterwards, because I have enough here to make 6 of these, except I need more containers. So anyways, let me show you on how I put this together. I've already opened this package and taken a couple of sponges out. I've been playing around with this, and there is a Brillo pad on one side, and you want to make sure that that is always face down in this container. And this is a little snap lid, 11-ounce container, and it's nice having the snap lid. That way you can keep everything all together without spilling out. If you're for the wet sponge or even the dry sponge, it keeps any kind of dirt or dust collecting on here when you're not using it. And so once the sponge is in here, you want to get it damp but not soaking wet, but just damp will work really good for cleaning your dotting tools off. And that's pretty much it as far as the main foundation of this. But what I found, I'm going to move these sponges out of the way because I already have one here, is that I wanted to be able to use this using just one hand. And I found that, let me reach over here and get one of my dotting tools, is that when I tried to wipe it off, it moved around really easily. And so I would have to hold this in place in order to clean it. And so I did a little more research, and I came up with the glue dots, which are actually removable. So if you mess up or something, don't worry, it's not permanent. And then this shelf liner that is non-slip. And let me go ahead and I'm going to bring in one that I've already completed, and you'll be able to tell that I've already used. And if you look at the bottom of this, and there's water in this sponge right now too, but you can see I'm moving this around and nothing leaks out because of the snap lid that's on there. And it's just a matter of I take 6 glue dots is what I took on here, and after I cut a piece of the non-slip liner, I would affix it with using the glue dots. And I'll open this up, and I have actually washed this off, and there's still, if I ran it through the dishwasher, it might wash this stuff off. I haven't tried that yet, but there's actually, if I rub my finger over this, I'm not going to get any paint because I've already rinsed this off pretty good, and you can tell there's no paint on my hands. So it's not going to affect your tools once you rinse this out after you're done using it, and if you still see the paint color on there. But anyway, let me go back to how I made this. I didn't want something complicated or have to use. Actually, there's one tool that you're going to need to make this, and that is a pair of scissors. And let me go ahead and move this one out of the way. And I'll snap this lid back on here. And I'm going to turn this over. And I don't want this paper on the bottom because I'm going to be using the dots to stick on there. And so I just peeled that label right off. And I'll stick it over there. And so what I want to do, and I've already used this, so I've already cut that label off. I just wanted to have it there so you could see it, is you just want to lay this along the bottom. And it doesn't have to be perfect either, which is nice. There's lots of room for error on this. I think it's better to have it a little bit too big versus a little bit too small, but that's up to you. And I just lay this on the bottom, and I'm going to cut along here with the scissors. And you can tell I'm not being really neat about this, but once again, that's up to you as far as how precise you want this to be. So now I have my piece of non-slip material, and I don't need tools any longer. And I've already opened the package of glue dots because I've already put one of these together. And there are 36 glue dots in here, and they're little perforated squares. And this is kind of like the stuff that if you get a credit card in the mail, that it sticks to. It's kind of like that. So I'm going to go ahead and rip a couple of these off, and so you can see they're in individual squares, which is nice. So then you have to peel off this. I just bumped the camera, sorry about that. Little kind of wax papery type stuff. And then you don't want to touch the dot itself. You might be able to see it a little bit better now that it's just on the clear paper. And then just put it up in the corner. And it's just sitting there, and just rub on it and then peel. I'll do the next one closer to the camera. Actually, I have one that's already loose here. Let me bring this up here. And as you can see, you get rid of that paper. I'm just going to set it up in that corner. I'm going to rub on that. And I kind of try to peel it. Let's see if I can find a good angle to show you this. I don't pull straight away like this. I kind of pull along the line of this, but it just peels right off. And let me go ahead and do the other 4 here. I'm probably going to speed this up a little bit so you don't have to watch this in real time. So hang on a second. Okay, now that that's all done, I'm just going to take this piece of, what do they call this stuff? I guess it's a non-slip shelf liner. And I'm just going to set it on the bottom and press it on where all those dots are. And you're done. Where it was sliding around before, I'm kind of trying to push it. You can push it if you push hard enough, but I'm going to show you how I've learned so far best to wipe off dotting tools and limit the amount of this sliding around so that you can do it one-handed. And I'm just going to give you a demonstration here real quick without paint, and then I will actually do a demonstration showing it with paint just to show you how well it does work. And this is pretty much my setup here as far as one wet sponge and one dry sponge. And what I found, let me get those better in frame, is that you don't want to slide this across when you're drying it off or when you're wiping it off or drying it off. And you want to actually keep it in place. And I'm going to, well, actually, because I want to be able to, I'm going to zoom in here if I can. Sorry about that. I'm working in kind of close quarters here, so I keep bumping the camera. So instead of sliding it across to wipe it off, you want to kind of push it down a little bit and just turn it in place, and that will keep this from sliding around so that you can do this one-handed. And so I will have it on the side to wipe the sides off, and then I will, to clean the tip of it off, do the same thing. Just spin it in place instead of trying to slide it along here to wipe it off, because it might slide a little bit. If you just keep it in place, you'll clean it nicely without it dragging around. And then the same thing when you go to dry it off. I start off just holding this in place and spinning it, and then on the tip of it, just spinning it. And you'll find that you really won't see any paint residue over here because this really cleans it off nicely. I'm going to do a little demonstration here. I'm going to go grab some paint, and I will be right back to show you it actually in a real-world application. Okay, I'm back with some paint, and we're going to go ahead and do a little demonstration of how to wipe off the tools with these sponges. And I'm going to start off with a number 8 Marks Mandalas dotting tool. I'm going to try to get this in focus so you can get an idea about how it looks before I get any paint on there, and I'll show it after I wipe off. I hope that's in focus. Anyway, I hope that gave you a good enough idea what it looks like. And I'm just going to go ahead and put some paint on here. And once again, you can see how much paint is on that tool right now. And I'm just going to come down here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So you can see as far as I'm going to push it down and then just spin it in place. And there is still a little bit of red paint on the tip, so I'm just going to go ahead, switch this over so you can see. I'm going to spin the tip along there. And now you can see how clean that is. And then this is pretty dry actually, but you can just go right over here and spin it this way, and then on the tip, and it's nice and dry. Let me go ahead and zoom back out again. And I'm going to go ahead and do it with blue as well, which is a color that's pretty popular. And you can see how much paint I got on here. And there's a decent amount of paint. And I'll zoom in, but not quite as much this time. And as far as there is paint right here that is still wet, that red. So you do want to probably avoid the spot that you did white paint off. So after a little while, you may have to go and rinse the sponge off, but you can paint quite a while before you need to worry about that. That's another benefit about not dragging it across, is you're not spreading wet paint all over the sponge. By just spinning it in one spot, you're minimizing the area that's getting affected by wet paint. So let me go ahead, and I'm going to push down just a little bit, and then I just spin it in place. And you can go both directions with it. And there's still a little bit on there. I'm going to go ahead, and you can, by pushing this down a little further, you can actually get some of the sides as well. Let me change hands so you can see that a little better. And I haven't even dried it off yet, but you can see how well that removed the paint on there. And let me just go over here and dry that off. And even with the larger tools that have a bit of an area here that sticks out, if you get paint on the back side here, you can actually, by pushing this down into the sponge, I'm going to lift this up at an angle to hopefully be able to show you. You can push that down when you spin it, and it'll get that paint off of not only the side and the face of the tool, but also on this back side as well. So it really does a good job of cleaning all the areas. And same with the drying part of it too. It works really good for that. So I hope this has given you enough help to give this a try. I would really like it if you would send me photos or videos of you putting this in action. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me anytime, and I will do my best to help. And until next time, rock on.